One tree, 500 pounds of fruit, 0 sprays, 0 fertilizer, and most of the trees on this list produce more fruit than the average backyard apple tree while requiring far less work. Most Americans have never planted one. Meanwhile, the apple tree your local nursery sold you needs up to 20 chemical treatments a season just to survive. A university study found that unsprayed apple orchards can lose up to 98% of their crop. That's not a fruit tree. That's a full-time job. Today, we're looking at 10 fruit trees that outproduce apples with almost no effort at all. Some fruit in their first year, some survive minus 40 degrees. One was actually banned by multiple American cities, not because it was dangerous, but because it produced so much fruit, the cities could not handle it. The tree at number 2 produces over 550 pounds from a single mature tree with virtually no spraying at all. We're counting down from 10 to 1. Stay until the end, because number 1 is the tree nurseries will never recommend, and the reason why will make perfect sense once you hear it. Let's start. Most fruit trees are still frozen when honeyberry is already producing. This cold hardy plant survives minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. The flowers handle 14 degrees and still set fruit. Nothing in the fruit world matches that. Honeyberry ripens 2 to 3 weeks before strawberries. While your neighbors wait on their first harvest, you're already picking. The berries taste like blueberry, crossed with raspberry and blackcurrant. One detail most sources skip. Honeyberry is not self-fertile. You need 2 compatible varieties or you get nothing. The Aurora and Boreal series from the University of Saskatchewan are your best options. Plant 6 or 8 bushes and you have a serious early season harvest with almost 0 work. But the next tree sounds like a cherry. It isn't, and that confusion is exactly why most gardeners never plant it. This isn't a cherry. It's a dogwood. Cornelian cherry blooms in February or March, before almost anything else shows signs of life. Those flowers tolerate 18 degrees and still set fruit. Late frosts rarely wipe out your crop. The fruit tastes like tart cherry crossed with cranberry. Exceptional in jams, syrups, and preserves. Some specimens in botanical gardens have been producing for over 200 years. And production actually increases with age, the opposite of most modern fruit trees. Minimal maintenance, excellent disease resistance, harvests that improve every decade. The next fruit nearly vanished from history, and why it disappeared tells you everything about how our food system works. Most people assume marmalade comes from oranges. It doesn't. The word comes from marmelo, the Portuguese name for quince, because original marmalade was made from that fruit. The orange version came centuries later and stole the name. Quince is golden, intensely fragrant, and large. One fruit on your counter perfumes an entire room for days. You can't eat it raw. But cook it, and something remarkable happens. The pale flesh transforms into deep rose pink. The aroma fills your kitchen. The flavor becomes rich, floral, and complex. For centuries, quince was essential in every serious orchard. Today, it's one of gardening's best-kept secrets. The next tree has been feeding humans longer than wheat has even existed. Archaeological evidence suggests humans cultivated figs before wheat, before barley, before virtually every grain crop we know today. That makes fig potentially the oldest cultivated plant in human history. And after 11,000 years, it's still one of the easiest fruit trees you can grow. That should tell you something. Many varieties begin producing within 1 or 2 years. Some deliver 2 harvests per season. Chicago. Hardy fig survives Zone 5 by dying back to the ground and regrowing, and still produces fruit the same year. Italian families have been protecting fig trees through harsh winters for generations. That tells you exactly how valuable this fruit is. No spray schedule. Fruit in year 1 or 2. A tree that civilizations were literally built around. The next plant can become a legitimate income source. And domestic supply still hasn't caught up with demand. Elderberry syrup demand exploded in recent years. American manufacturers are now importing dried berries from Eastern Europe because local growers can't fill orders. That is the definition of an opportunity. Fresh elderberries sell for $5 to $7 a pound. Dried berries fetch $20 to $30. Finished syrup sells for significantly more. The plants tolerate wet soil, establish fast, and begin producing in year 2 or 3. Very little spraying is needed. One critical safety note. Raw elderberries must be cooked before eating. Never eat them straight from the bush. Cooking completely eliminates the issue. Plant 2 varieties for pollination. York produces the largest clusters. Bob Gordon is exceptionally productive. Individual clusters can weigh up to 2 pounds. For anyone looking at fruit that can become a small business, elderberry is the opportunity most people are sleeping on. The next tree solves one of the biggest frustrations in fruit growing: pollination. Sweet cherries get all the attention. Sour cherries do all the work. Sweet cherries need a second variety for pollination. They crack in rain. Birds strip them clean overnight. Sour cherries are different. Most varieties are completely self-fertile. Plant one tree and you get fruit. No partner required. A mature Montmorency produces 30 to 50 pounds annually, with far fewer disease problems than sweet varieties. If you have only tasted those bright red maraschino things in a jar, you have no idea what a real sour cherry tastes like. Montmorency makes the best cherry pie most bakers have ever produced. That is the consistent verdict of anyone who has worked with the fresh fruit. Tart cherry juice has also become serious in the health world. Multiple studies link it to reduced inflammation and faster recovery. The next tree does something almost no fruit tree on Earth can do. It produces fruit in winter. Every fruit tree you know follows the same schedule: flowers in spring, fruit in summer or fall. Loquat ignores all of that. This tree blooms in fall and ripens fruit in late winter and early spring, February, and March, when your orchard is bare sticks and frozen ground. The fruit tastes like peach crossed with citrus and mango. Across Florida, Texas, and the Gulf Coast, loquat trees line streets and fill backyards. Most people walk right past them without realizing the fruit is edible. That still amazes me. One honest caveat: the flowers freeze at 27 degrees. In Zone 8 or warmer, this is one of the easiest producers you will ever grow. In Zone 7, treat it as a bonus crop in favorable years. Top 4 now. And the next fruit tastes tropical while surviving winters that would kill most apple trees. Most Americans have never tasted a pawpaw. That's a shame, because nothing else is quite like it. Banana, mango, pineapple, vanilla custard, blended into a single fruit, growing wild from Michigan to Florida, surviving minus 20 degrees. Lewis and Clark survived on pawpaws when game ran scarce during their expedition. George Washington ate them chilled as dessert. Thomas Jefferson grew them at Monticello. This fruit shaped American history, and then we forgot it entirely. Why? Pawpaw has a shelf life of 2 to 5 days. You cannot ship it. You cannot stock it in a supermarket. It simply doesn't fit the modern food system. But at farmers markets, it sells for $5 to $15 a pound. Demand almost always exceeds supply. The trees have virtually zero pest problems. Deer leave them alone. No spraying needed. A tropical flavored fruit that grows in the snow needs zero spraying, and deer refuse to eat. Almost nobody is planting it. 2 trees left. Number 2 produces over 550 pounds from a single mature tree. Diospyros, the scientific name for persimmon, translated from Greek, food of the gods. Once you've tasted a fully ripe persimmon, you'll understand why someone felt the need to invoke the gods. A mature Asian persimmon tree can produce more than 550 pounds of fruit annually, over half a ton, from one tree, with virtually no spraying and very few pest problems. American persimmon is even tougher. Some varieties survived minus 31 degrees in Wisconsin trials. Poor soil, drought, clay, sand. It keeps growing where others give up. The one thing that trips people up is that an unripe persimmon is intensely astringent. Eat one too early and you'll remember it. But wait until it's fully ripe, soft, and almost translucent, and the transformation is dramatic. Sweet as honey, with notes of apricot, brown sugar, and dates. Hunters plant persimmon trees specifically as deer attractants. They call them deer candy. One tree. Hundreds of pounds of fruit. Minimal maintenance, and yet it's still not number 1. Because number 1 was actually banned by multiple American cities. Not for being dangerous, for being too productive. Tucson, Las Vegas, El Paso, Albuquerque. All of them banned or restricted mulberry planting. Male trees produce such enormous clouds of pollen that cities considered them a nuisance, so they tried to get rid of the whole species. But fruiting mulberries are a completely different story. Some varieties begin producing in their very first year. Not year 5, not year 3, year 1. The trees grow 3 to 5 feet per season. No spraying needed, no apple scab, no codling moth, no fire blight, none of the diseases that turn apple growing into a chemical dependency. The tree simply produces. Illinois everbearing is the gold standard. It fruits for 6 to 8 weeks rather than all at once. Shake a branch over a tarp at peak season and you'll collect pounds of berries in minutes. The flavor is blackberry crossed with honey. Excellent fresh, excellent in pies, excellent in jam, excellent in wine. And here's the part nurseries will never tell you. You can propagate mulberry from hardwood cuttings. Take a 12-inch cutting in late winter, push it into moist soil, and you have a new tree for free. No nursery required. Share them with every neighbor on your street. No other tree on this list combines speed, production, toughness, and zero maintenance like mulberry. You plant it, and it feeds you, year after year. That's exactly why nurseries don't push it. You buy one, take cuttings, and you never need them again. The business model doesn't work for them, but it works perfectly for you. The biggest lesson from this list is not that apple trees are bad. It is that most gardeners are working with a tiny fraction of the fruit trees available to them. For thousands of years, families grew diverse orchards filled with resilient, productive trees that needed almost no help. Many of those trees still exist today. They are just waiting to be rediscovered. So here's my question. If you could plant just one tree from this list tomorrow, which would it be? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more forgotten crops, honest growing advice, and trees that actually produce without fighting you every step of the way, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.